Culture shapes who we are, but what happens when traditions take a shocking turn? From breathtaking rituals to jaw-dropping customs, some practices blur the line between sacred and extreme. Ever seen people jump over babies or walk on fire as part of a real-life tradition? What if I tell you these bizarre rituals are not stunts but deeply rooted cultural practices from around the world? Whether it's a festival where people throw tomatoes at each other or dangerous feats of strength, you won't believe these incredible, mind-blowing customs actually exist. Join me as we explore the wild, untamed side of culture, where ancient beliefs meet modern curiosity. Buckle up, because this journey is about to get intense. La Tomatina. Picture a small town in Spain, the air thick with anticipation and the ground covered in tomatoes? Welcome to La Tomatina, the world's biggest food fight held every August in the town of Buñol. Now, you might be wondering what could possibly lead to thousands of people hurling ripe tomatoes at each other. Well, let me take you through this wild, chaotic tradition. It all began in 1945 when a spontaneous brawl broke out during a local festival. No one knows exactly how, but before long, tomatoes were flying through the air and the crowd went wild. Fast forward to today, and La Tomatina has become an annual event, drawing people from all corners of the globe. More than 20,000 participants to be exact. But here's the twist. It's not just about throwing tomatoes. There's a whole strategy behind it. Participants wait for the signal when trucks arrive overflowing with tomatoes. And once that countdown begins, chaos erupts. People are slipping, sliding, laughing, and yes, throwing tomatoes at anyone and everyone in sight. But there's a catch. No one's allowed to throw anything but tomatoes, and you have to squash them before they hit your target to avoid injuries. The town streets, now a sea of red pulp, are completely transformed in an epic battle of fun, mess, and celebration. El Colacho. Alright, brace yourselves, because this next tradition is something you truly won't believe. Envision a small town in Spain, Castelló de Murcia, where an age-old ritual unfolds every year. One so bizarre it'll make your heart race just thinking about it. It's called El Colacho. During the feast of Corpus Christi, men dressed as devils, yes, devils, take to the streets, running, jumping, and leaping over babies lying on mattresses. Sounds like something out of a horror movie, right? But no, this is a centuries-old Spanish tradition with a deeply spiritual purpose. It's said to cleanse infants of evil spirits, ensuring they grow up healthy and protected from harm. Here's where it gets even more intense. These devils, known as colachos, don't just jump over babies casually. They run towards them, full speed before leaping over their tiny bodies, all while wearing vibrant costumes and making wild, unsettling noises. The event is a chaotic spectacle of color, fear, and of course, tension. The parents believe it's a blessing, something that will protect their children for life. But imagine standing there watching as a man dressed in red and yellow, horns atop his head, rushes towards a baby, only to leap over it in a heart-stopping moment. Thaipusam. Now let's talk about Thaipusam, a festival that will leave you in awe and maybe even make you question the limits of human endurance. Held annually mostly in Malaysia and Singapore, Thaipusam is a deeply spiritual celebration for Hindus, honoring Lord Murugan. But what makes this festival so extraordinary is the ritual that takes center stage, the piercing of the body. Imagine devotees in a trance-like state walk barefoot through the streets carrying massive elaborate metal structures called kavadi, attached to their skin by sharp hooks, needles, and skewers. And I'm not talking about small piercings. These are large, intense hooks that are pierced through their skin, faces, and even cheeks, while others may attach heavy structures to their bodies through these piercings. What's even more mind-blowing? These devotees endure all of this with a sense of spiritual devotion, some even carrying these hooks and sharp objects without flinching, seemingly in a trance. The pain absolutely excruciating. But for them, it's a form of penance, devotion, and a way to honor Lord Murugan, seeking blessings and divine favor. The entire scene is filled with chants, drums, and a crowd in awe as these fearless devotees march through the streets, seemingly untouched by the agony they're enduring. The Greek Anastenaria. Imagine standing barefoot on a bed of scorching hot coals, feeling the heat pulse through the soles of your feet, but instead of burning, you feel nothing. Welcome to the Greek Anastenaria, a centuries-old firewalking ritual that will leave you speechless. This tradition, rooted in both Christian and pagan beliefs, takes place in the northern villages of Greece, where devotees prepare to face the ultimate test of faith and endurance. During the Anastenaria, participants enter a trance-like state, chanting and drumming in rhythm, and then, with a crowd watching in breathless suspense, they march toward a pit of blazing hot coals. But here's the mind-blowing part. They walk on it, barefoot, cross the searing heat without flinching. How's this possible? The secret lies in a combination of physical and mental preparation, intense belief, and maybe a little bit of spiritual power, as these participants believe they're being guided and protected by the saints. The land diving of Vanuatu. Get ready for a heart-stopping tradition that will make your stomach drop. Land diving in Vanuatu. Now, I know what you're thinking, but this isn't your typical thrill-seeking bungee jump. Land diving is believed to be the origin of bungee jumping, and it takes courage to a whole new level. Every year, men from the indigenous villages of Pentecost Island climb towering wooden platforms, some over 100 feet high. They don't jump for fun. They jump to prove their bravery, to ensure good crops, and to earn the blessing of the gods. The kicker? They're tied to the platform with vines, not ropes. The longer and tighter the vine, the more intense the drop, and the closer they get to touching the ground, a dangerous yet sacred act. As the countdown begins, these men take a deep breath, their hearts racing, knowing they're about to plunge towards the earth. Their bodies diving towards the soil below with nothing but a vine between them and disaster. The thrill is unimaginable as they plummet, the vine stretching and pulling them back at the last moment. The crowd erupts in cheers, but for the diver, it's a test of both physical and spiritual endurance. In a place where spirituality and nature are deeply intertwined, this daring ritual is more than just an adrenaline rush. It's a celebration of life, strength, and connection to the earth. The suspense, the danger, and the incredible display of courage make land diving one of the wildest traditions you'll ever encounter. The Gaua Island Snake Festival. Imagine a festival where venomous snakes are revered, handled, and even embraced. Welcome to the Gaua Island Snake Festival in the remote islands of Vanuatu. This is not your average festival. It's an incredible, spine-chilling celebration that combines deep spiritual beliefs with the raw power of nature. The people of Gaua Island believe that snakes are sacred animals, and during the festival they actually hold and wear them as part of spiritual ceremonies. But these aren't just any snakes. Some are venomous, making the risk unimaginable. And yet, the villagers treat these creatures with such adoration they believe that interacting with them brings protection, strength, and healing. The festival kicks off with a collection of snakes from the island's jungles, which are then carefully brought into the village. As part of the ceremonies, participants will embrace these powerful creatures, letting them coil around their bodies or even drape across their shoulders undisturbed by the danger they carry. The connection to the snakes is seen as a way to connect with the land's spiritual energy and to gain blessings for health, fertility, and good fortune. The tension is high as the crowd watches, the air thick with anticipation. You can almost feel the electric energy as villagers and snakes alike perform their sacred rituals. The Burying the Bride Ritual. Get ready for a tradition that might leave you speechless. The Burying the Bride Ritual in Mauritania. It's a practice that pushes the boundaries of what we consider typical, and it's rooted in centuries of cultural beliefs. In Mauritania, beauty is often defined by size, and in some areas, young women are encouraged to go through an extreme process called le blau. Here's where it gets intense. The ritual involves force-feeding girls large quantities of food to rapidly increase their size. They're given massive meals and encouraged to eat excessively with the goal of becoming as large as possible before their wedding day. The larger a woman is, the more desirable she's considered, often viewed as a symbol of wealth, fertility, and beauty. But there's more. On the day of their wedding, brides undergo a final ritual known as burying the bride. The woman is placed in a secluded area where she's kept hidden from public view, away from her family and friends. It's said that this is to protect her from the evil eye and to preserve her beauty. The practice is controversial and widely criticized for its health risks, but for those who follow it, remains a deeply ingrained cultural norm. The emotional and physical toll this tradition takes is unimaginable, and the secrecy around it creates an air of tension and suspense. The Burying the Bride ritual is a stark reminder of how beauty, culture, and traditions can shape lives in ways that are both fascinating and, at times, unsettling. Whew, what a journey! From firewalking in Greece to snake festivals in Vanuatu, we've explored some of the most mind-blowing traditions on the planet. Every culture has its own unique practices that connect people to their history, beliefs, and even each other. And I hope this video gave a whole new perspective on how incredible and wild our world truly is. If you enjoyed this adventure into the strange and fascinating, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new here, and drop a comment with your thoughts. Have you ever heard of any of these rituals before? Or maybe you have one of your own to share. Let's talk about it. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay curious, stay adventurous, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now!